Hi, I'm Jackie.
And I'm Seth.
And this is Never TMI.
Where we talk about real things.
And nothing is ever off limits.
All right. Podcast.
Hello. How we doing? How you doing today? Good?
I'm good. I'm thankful that we get to film another episode today.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And super grateful for everyone who tunes in to this channel. I hope we can add some value to your lives in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, today we thought we would do a Q&A. I asked at least my Instagram community to ask me anything, absolutely anything. So there's lots of questions in here regarding literally everything. I'm just going to read some off and we're just going to organically answer. We have both not answered these questions or like gone over them or anything. So I'm excited. Should be good. And let's dive right in, shall we?
Let's go.
Okay. Let's go with number 1. Advice for singles in their 30s.
Ooh, singles in your 30s?
Yeah. It's not like single in your teens, you know? So
yeah,
it's a different breed. But what do you have to say about that?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
I think the things that come to my mind first are, 1, don't sweat it. Like, don't make it a bigger deal than it is because, and I think especially in this generation, like it's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, you know, if you look at our parents' generation or whatever, like
totally, that would have been a little bit more out of the ordinary.
A little bit later, like people got married younger, but I know so many people who are literally getting married in their 30s or even
meeting people in their 30s. Yeah.
And like dating in their 30s. I feel I've even heard, you know, people don't have kids till late 30s. And I know, I don't know all the biological stuff, but it's just like.
My brother actually just had a baby and he's like 36, you know, it's his first kid and it wasn't even necessarily on purpose. So they probably would have waited even longer.
Right. I think my first piece of advice would just be like, don't let age be like a voice on your shoulder saying I'm too old, it's too late. Like, always have hope for that if that's what you're aspiring for is a relationship. If you really want a relationship and you're older, like you can't hyper focus on I need to find a mate, I'm losing time. It's like we're almost at the end of 2023. What am I going to do? Like the best thing I think you can do is not focus on it at all. And that doesn't mean you can't have feelings about it or, you know, you can't talk to people about how you feel about it or express those feelings to God.
Yeah, it's way easier said than done. But
like, I definitely think too that, you know, there's a reason for the season, and maybe this season is for you to focus on something else. Or so like there's an element of just you have to put in your work and trust that, you know, at least I'm speaking, I guess, from somewhat of a Christian standpoint, but trust that God will bring the right person to you in the right time, or that you will meet that person in the right time just by you doing what you know is right to do in your life on your journey. Because, you know, worst case scenario, you never meet anyone. Like, if you can look back on that time, is that time still well spent? Are you still actively trying to, you know, improve on yourself and better yourself and work your hardest at whatever you choose to do? Like, that's still life that you get to live. And I know that can be hard sometimes, but I've seen people who can definitely hyper focus, and not even in your 30s. It's just like, I know people who are in their 20s and it's just like, oh, all I want is to get married and marry a sugar daddy. And, you know, it's like, so just like really like find the purpose in your life within yourself. And I believe that God will arrange your paths with your soulmate, whoever that person is, or you will come up, you know, across a path with someone who you can live life with, be compatible with, and just kind of just keep walking it out, you know, have some faith to it.
I would say the only thing I would add to that is to just live. Like, don't wait for someone to like do these experiences that you might have in mind. If you want to go to Italy if you can. If you want to try something crazy, like go skydiving by yourself or with a friend, like don't wait to live for this other person. I would also say to prepare, definitely like work to prepare to become the person that you want to be with and without a spouse, so that you're ready. And I know all of this, like, I mean, I was like 23 or 22 and single, and I was like, oh, it's taking forever. So I know, I can't imagine, I have a sister who is single, and it's really changed my perspective getting to speak with her about it, because it's a lot. It's hard. It's definitely a difficult feeling thing. And there's really not a lot that someone can say to like take away the feeling that someone might have. Some people might love being single, but those who really desire to be in a relationship and it just hasn't happened, that's really, really tough. So she's kind of helped me to have a lot of empathy towards single people looking for a spouse, because it doesn't just happen, So I would say just, live, try to fill your time, try to surround yourself with people who can kind of like fill the gaps where you feel there's gaps. If you're lonely at most nights and you feel that heavily, then try to fill that time with something or someone, or, not in a healthy way, but you know what I mean? Things to do and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I would say.
And I would say too, just like, I would really focus on yourself. Like, be selfish with that time, because when you are married, like, that's a whole different season of life. And I feel like, I think it was kind of the same for both of us, but it wasn't really till I kind of stopped thinking about it. And because I didn't meet Jackie till after I left Wheaton. And I kind of just grew up thinking like, oh, I'm going to go to college and probably meet my wife at whatever school I go to, like, and it was just kind of like, there was a season though where it was just kind of like, I'm kind of over this, like, and it's not that I was just like, the best guy on the block, a celibate person or whatever, but it was just kind of like, in my mind, I had switched over to just like, I need to improve, I'm doing what I'm going to be doing anyways, so like. And Jackie really came in. When she came in, she added a lot of value to my life from a spiritual standpoint of working to improve my life from a spiritual platform. But other than that, I was very self-motivated in terms of just like being healthy, working hard, focus on a career. Like I'd made my choices, to go down a certain path. And it was kind of like when I least expected it, I felt like it's when it was right around the corner. Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
so
I
just
agree.
it's kind of a season for you to be selfish in a sense, and that I think that can be a big treasure.
Yeah, because that'll change. You can't be selfish anymore. Okay, next question. This, let's see. Did you ever have any anxiety about pregnancy / giving birth? If so, what helped you get through it? Absolutely. I was petrified every single time. And I think that's very normal, natural, and yeah, it is a big deal. So yes, I was. And I think for different reasons, each one. But I think what helped the most, honestly, was either voicing it. So I was okay to like shed some tears if I needed to and just tell Seth, like, I'm really struggling and I'm afraid, like I'm scared. And, obviously there's mental work that you're like trying to do in pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. So I would say it came to mind all the time, but it was like, okay, this has to happen. It's going to be fine. Also facts kind of help me. So like looking at like the statistics, like knowing there's probably, thousands and thousands of people giving birth today right now and everything went fine. That was a reassuring feeling and thought. On any given day I go to the hospital, someone's probably giving birth and it's fine, So kind of like reminding myself of that. But if it got bad, if it got to a point where I like couldn't talk myself out of the fear and the anxiety and all that kind of stuff, I would just tell Seth and allow him to encourage me or to pray for me, pray with me, or for him just listen and for me to kind of vent and communicate about how like, this isn't fun. I don't want to do this. This kind of stinks, or I'm scared, or whatever. Just be honest with it. And that, I feel like, really made a difference in those extreme times of fear and anxiety when it came to that.
I wouldn't say I was anxious about it, but the one part that I got nervous about was the like looking, like seeing down there when the baby is coming out. I really didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not like a bloody, like gory, like I'll cringe if something is. And so I just didn't know. And
oh gosh, if someone like bends their ankle and there's no blood on, the screen, he's like, oh!
So that was what I was nervous about. But
well, do you have any advice? What helped? I mean, was it as bad as you thought? Was it?
It wasn't as bad as I thought, and it wasn't until Michael, our third kid, where I actually watched the whole thing, and so I kind of, the first one was a C-section, and I don't know if I could have done the cutting, like the cutting on you. I don't know if I could have watched that.
Did you watch that? Oh,
no,
you didn't.
because they had that.
It's so crazy. Like, I think I've seen it in a video sometime, and it literally is like cutting a piece of cheese. It's like, I don't understand how it's
I don't think I could have done that. Also, I had a traumatic experience in college. In a social class, we were watching this video, and all of a sudden, this lady in Africa gives birth to this baby on a piece of cardboard, and it caught me so off guard. And ever since then, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it wasn't until Michael where I watched the full thing, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. It was, because it's a natural human thing. It's obviously not pleasant, but it is beautiful in a sense.
Yes, in every sense, but
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, next question. Let's go with a quick and easy one. Coconut oil you and Seth use. Straight up Trader Joe's. No, they're asking which one do we use.
Oh. For cooking,
all the
for
time.
Coffee, for
I know,
sex.
right?
It's
the brand that we use, though.
Body lotion.
Seth's.
I mean, just wherever.
I would say the organic Trader Joe's coconut oil has worked just fine.
Organic, but what does that really even mean? It's like
I know, right? When it's going there, who cares? But I do think the best part about it is like it's like an antibacterial. It's like, I don't know. I think one of my biggest fears is like UTIs. I feel like I used to struggle with them, and I think that helped a lot. Like I don't know. It just helps to kind of keep things clean and antibacterial.
I will say though,
stuff.
We're never TMI.
Yep.
We've tried some other lubricants. I don't remember the brands, but I remember one time I went to get some out, and it clogged the hole. It's like I couldn't squeeze it out, and that was the moment I was just like, something just doesn't seem quite right about this. And
no, it's weird. I don't know.
I threw the bottle out, and I was like, coconut oil is just as good.
It's just easy, and it feels like natural. Yes, it's like nothing crazy going inside my body. But then again, I'll eat like hot Cheetos, so whatever floats your boat. But that's the one that we use.
Never TMI though.
Yes.
And I've been learning about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The best lube is natural lube, and I know I'm saying this for guys.
Are you talking about your spit?
No, I'm talking about just like warming up naturally. Like, there's definitely time and place for a quickie, but like if you can get the juices going naturally, that's gonna be what
juices.
This is never
what a word. No, I know. It's just the way that you said it, but yes, that is true. Take a little time, and your body will do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot that goes into that too. I mean, if you're postpartum, you're a little drier than
There's
usual.
Seasons for everything, yes.
Okay, yes. Anyway, good point. Next question. Found my husband of 1 year has been watching porn. How do we get through? I would say the first things that come to mind would be pray together. Well, I would say pray for yourself first, and that you can deal with whatever it may be, how, intense the situation might be, or not. Not that all of it isn't intense. It is not a good feeling regardless, but pray that you can approach it and him and deal with the situation with grace, love, understanding. And then I would say to pray for him, maybe pray with him, that he would be able to take responsibility, but also that he wouldn't feel like shameful, because the shame and all that, like being in the dark, sort of, when you think of like shame, that's like a dark, you're hiding, all that kind of stuff. Like nothing good comes from like the dark and hiding and shame and all that kind of stuff. That's just not the way you want to go about it. So as badly as you want to like let them know how much that hurts you and all that kind of stuff, try to remember that, number one, it is a very common, unfortunately, a common thing that a lot of couples and men and women deal with, that it's not about you. It's not a reflection of you. You could be the most beautiful, perfect, handsome, whatever person who serves their spouse so well, and that can still be an issue for someone else or whoever you're in a relationship with. So try not to take it personally. And then I would say, when it comes to like the action part, definitely seek some accountability. I would come together and just either, it doesn't need to be like, let's go to counseling, like, but it could be, but like, I would communicate about like the nature of it. Was it one time? Has it been months? Where does it happen? When does it happen typically? Like, try to come up with like a plan of action, so that you can like attack what you can immediately and like set boundaries. Absolutely. So whatever that looks like will be different for everyone, and maybe how serious it is. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's important to just kind of like, okay, what we're going to do today is so-and-so. But I feel like also whoever is on the sucky end of that, you don't want to be the one who like takes the brunt of every feeling and emotion and the whatever of the struggle. So maybe find your partner, the one who is struggling with it, some accountability, outside accountability, than just like, oh, hey, I struggle with it again, or like, I really want to. It's like, you don't want to be the one like hearing all that, but they do need to be able to be honest with someone and open with someone. So I would suggest a same-sex accountability for whichever partner is struggling with it.
Yeah. No, I would say that would be my first piece of advice would be accountability. I do think, understanding, like it's got to be an open conversation though, and it's got to happen. Like, you've got to really work quickly to eradicate that from your marriage, and otherwise it's just going to always be like a lingering thing that is going to disrupt where you guys are trying to go. So I would say accountability is my number one thing. And practically, I would say it can be, does he have a close friend who is respectable and, that you trust as well as he can trust to actually be open with and honest with about it. I use something called Covenant Eyes. It's an app that monitors, internet access. You get reports for the sites that you've been to. It flags, questionable sites. There's a lot of parameters you can use. I would install something like that, and you can have accountability partners connected to that. They get the reports, and it's, it helps keep them accountable. I would say though, if and it's hard for a wife, but I would say I felt most accountable when Jackie was in the know, or when I was exposed to Jackie with stuff like this. And it really kind of puts your feet to the fire to like knowing that if I do this and if there's a will, there's a way, but really trying to, set the parameters, knowing that they want to stop doing that. Like,
Yeah.
If the wife or the spouse or, the other partner can be the accountability, even though it's not fun, I feel like that lights a fire under whoever's doing it to really be accountable. And, I don't know, it just adds like a level of vulnerability in the relationship.
Yeah, I will say if you really want it, like to be fully transparent, I was kind of the only one. I wouldn't say the only one. Like, I feel like you had accountability, but I was the most aggressive accountability.
Yeah. And I think that's how it would play out, is because I've had other guys be accountable, as accountability partners, but it's kind of like,
it can be the blind leading the blind situation where it's like,
or
hey,
it's
bro,
like,
I
it's
messed
not
up.
as serious as they wouldn't think of it to be quite as serious as Jackie would. Not that it wasn't serious. But
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's just kind of like guy to guy. It's kind of like, you did it again.
Yeah, like
I'm
praying
telling
for your
you,
bro, and you're like,
right.
okay, thanks.
So I would definitely get accountability. If it's to a point, though, where it is more serious, or if there's a second offense, I would say even a second offense, I would then get counseling. Like, I would
immediately.
Put your money where your mouth is. Have a counselor help you.
And not that it's just like, oh my gosh, we can't handle this alone. It's just like you really want, before something gets worse, you just want to deal with it. And I think, with us, it didn't have to go further. But there's a lot of people that it absolutely does need to, and that would be like the number one thing, is to go deal with it quick. Yeah.
And counseling, I say counseling, but that's essentially a paid form of accountability. And so it's just, maybe you don't know anyone, and maybe you yourself emotionally couldn't take it again if you caught them watching porn or something. So then I would hire accountability to, really check in and grill and keep you, that person accountable.
And we do marriage counseling, like, for no reason. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but there's not like this ongoing issue in our marriage. And I think it's just a great thing. So I used to think of counseling as like such a big, serious thing, but it's just kind of like therapy, for a couple, in a sense. Next question. Advice for a couple moving cross country away from family. I think that's amazing. I think, one of the best things we did was move away from both of our families after we got married. And so I don't know how long you've been with your family, because that would be really tough. It was really tough. I cried almost every day, because I was like, how am I moving from, Dallas or Chicago, whatever, to California? Like, what? I don't know anyone. I'm going to be alone. But it ended up being the best season ever, because we truly were forced to just be together, to grow. And for us, it was definitely like a tougher marriage period, but it was also so fun, so healthy, so wonderful to get away. I couldn't run to my parents' house if I were struggling or whatever. It was just like we had each other, and we grew a ton. So I always, honestly, if people have the chance to, I say go do it, when you get married, and I love it. I think it's hard. That would be really hard. And we have thought and talked about it in different seasons of our marriage, like maybe living somewhere else, because my whole family lives here. And it's a tough thought, because you're like, but the kids and the nieces and nephews and this and that. But it's like, it could be a really good thing for a season, Yeah.
No, I don't, there's not much else to say. I would just say enjoy it. Like, I know it can be hard, but, there's going to be so much good. And I would say double down on your relationship with your spouse. And if you have kids, double down on the family time. Like, definitely work to network and build relationships in wherever you're going. But, like, really look at it as a great opportunity to invest in your relationships within your family. I know for Jack and I, that really enriched and helped our marriage, get off on a I can't say a better foot.
Yeah.
We didn't start.
Then it would have. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What do you wish you knew or wish you did before Kennedy was born?
Ooh, I mean, I wish.
I just wanted to take a quick second, pause, and talk to you guys about Minno. As parents, I feel like it's a full-time job to be able to find shows that are appropriate for our kids to watch, and it's honestly super difficult sometimes to find shows that are engaging, entertaining, and wholesome at the same time. We finally found a streaming service that works perfectly, and that's Minno Kids. Minno Kids.
Yeah, Minno is a great streaming service for kids that offers faith-based content that parents can also trust. We're really excited to be partnering with Minno because we actually believe in the company and what they stand for.
There's a ton of shows, movies, and devotionals that are perfect for road trips, movie nights, at-home sick days, or your everyday downtime moments. I remember literally having to call my sister to see if she had watched certain shows before to make sure that it was safe for my kids, and now, thanks to Minno, I don't have to do that anymore.
All their shows and movies are screened by parents, teachers, and pastors to make sure they're appropriate and entertaining and also align with faith-based values. It is comforting to know that we don't have to worry about questionable content or unknown ads popping up because we know Minno has our kids' best interest at heart. Also, the shows are fun and cute and our kids actually do enjoy them.
Whether you're a parent tired of looking for wholesome content for your household or simply on the hunt for some entertaining and faith-based shows, movies, or devotionals for your kids to watch on their own, we highly encourage you to try Minno. We stream Minno in our household and we would love for you to do the same. Head to GoMinno.com and use code FamilyMade to get your first month free. That's GoMinno.com/FamilyMade for 1 free month of the Minno Kids streaming service, which is awesome. Sign up for Minno today if you want shows that are not only entertaining and engaging, but that reflect your values and teach your kids about the things that actually matter.
Now let's get back to the show.
I wish I wasn't one-track minded of just money and success and having a career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish that I was more easygoing to travel. I think I wish we would have traveled more.
Mm-hmm.
And to travel, that takes expenses, so I think I wish I would have prepared for that probably a little bit more. Honestly, like the question we just talked about, though, I am glad that we moved somewhere fun.
Yeah.
And, focus on a little bit more of like living life there as opposed to just like living at our lowest means to save for the future. Like,
yeah, we had the option
fun.
to live by the beach for more in a smaller house or like live in an apartment in a bigger space, not next to the beach. And we were like, we have to do this. Mm-hmm. And it was like one of the best seasons of our life.
Yeah. So I would definitely, I think those are two things that I can look back on and say I enjoyed those seasons for those reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I do wish we maybe were a little bit more financially responsible, but I'm glad we had the experiences that we did.
Yeah, I would agree. Next question. Starbucks order.
Ooh, are we going semi-healthy, realistic, or just like a splurge order?
Let's do both but also I feel like our espresso machine has changed our lives and we literally hardly ever get coffee out anymore unless like whatever. It's so much more rare. It was almost every day. And this machine we are obsessed with and it's really saved us, I'm sure, hundreds by now, and we've only had it for like 6 months. So
it's definitely paid for itself by now.
That
was probably, of all the things we did this year,
that was probably the best money-saving investment we've done ever, I feel like, because we both love coffee. I really love coffee. Seth, like, I feel like you love coffee in a different way than I do, but you do love it.
I appreciate the effects
of coffee. Exactly. I was like, you don't like care about the experience, but like you do love it. I would say for me, my go-to right now, and it's kind of like a mix. If I'm going to Starbucks, what I'm gonna get is this, and it's like somewhat conscious of like You know, I'm not going to go get like a caramel frappuccino with whipped cream and extra caramel on top because
Is it like the ice cream ones?
that's just not realistic. Yeah.
Those are really good.
I know they're so good. But it's like I would never get that again because it's just drinking 1,000 calories, and your girl can't afford that right now on the little journey that I'm on. But what I get, I really love, and it's really good. So I get the pumpkin cream cold.
What is it?
Okay, I get the pumpkin cream cold brew without the vanilla syrup in it. So they naturally put the syrup in there, and I just want the plain cold brew, not sweetened, nothing, just cold brew. And then I get the pumpkin cream cold foam, like everything normal. So I just say, can I have a grande pumpkin cream cold brew with no vanilla syrup? And it's gold. With each sip you get like the foam, and it's just amazing. What's yours?
Well, do they have pumpkin all year round?
No.
Well, what do you do?
But they have like a
just the cold foam.
well, yeah, I
cream
do
foam.
like the cinnamon dolce cold foam, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your healthy one, or that's your?
It's both, because it's like it's
okay.
just a
You don't
cold
have
brew.
it.
The cold
Yeah.
foam is the only thing that like has crap in it. So
Got it.
what's yours?
If I'm not getting like a red eye or a black eye,
Which is what? Because not
which is
even
a
baristas
cup
know
of
what it is.
coffee with either 1 or 2 shots of espresso in it. I would my semi-healthy would be oat milk latte, hot, extra shot of espresso with 3 packs of honey stirred in.
Yes,
natural
you do
sweetener.
that quite often.
Other than that, I would say the white mocha latte. Is that what it is? I don't
Yeah,
know. I
a
like
white
it.
mocha.
I like a white mocha.
But
half
that's
sweetened.
so yeah.
But it's just, those are sweet. Also, the new one, I will say, that has the olive oil in it. That is the shaken, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
shaken espresso thing.
Those are pretty good too.
Okay, next question. Would you say you have a parenting style? If so, what is it? Ooh, this is fun. Let's do each other's parenting style. Because we're parenting together. What would you say? Or do you want me to go first? Or do you want me to tell them your parenting style?
Jackie is just 0 to 100. It's like...
Oh, what do you mean?
It's like when...
It's effective, though, I will say.
Is it? I'm kidding.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by that?
It can be very effective. It's like if things are going fine and okay, you're very chill. Sometimes though, it's like I feel like if they tip the scale, like it's just, and it goes, you just get really elevated, and they know it, and they stop doing it, so it is effective. But I feel like there's no like in between ease up. I feel like your warnings are more non-existent.
Stop, Seth. I feel like my warnings are just like distraction.
We're talking
or
you are good at.
well,
thinking
you
of
know,
other
it's
things,
like
yes.
I'm not going to be like. There's not a ton of warning because if I ask you to do something, then you need to do it.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So you're good at distracting. I also think whenever you're like your quality time with them, when you're on, it's like when you're on with quality time, it's just they love it. It's their favorite thing to spend quality time with mom. And
That's my favorite thing.
yeah. So I think that you just love really hard when
Oh,
you're
parenting. I thought we were talking discipline. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, we're talking
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
talking
go ahead.
both things, but like when it's mom time and she's present in the moment as mom, that is, I think, the best quality is you are so present and you love them so well and so hard, and they just they'll stay with you. It's like if I'm gone for a half a day and I come back, they're happy to see me, but the things that I would normally do with them, they're like, no, I want mommy to do it.
I know.
Because they just had a great day with mom.
No, I love spending time with them. I feel like working from home is hard because it's like, even this morning, I'm like trying to have my quiet time, trying to do some work. And Evan's like, come outside with me. And it's like, how do I say no to that? But like, I have to sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's just hard. But I do think, okay, do you remember last night with Evan, how she like would not stop crying. Was crying from the second we said we need to go upstairs, brush her teeth.
Oh, it's because she saw the bottle.
No, I know, but like that's unacceptable. You know, it's like she's crying, whining. Yeah. She knows she's too old, like to know. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows she's crying because she wants something that she literally doesn't get until she gets in bed. And I feel like the only way she responds is if I'm so serious and so stern, and then she'll stop. You know what I mean? So it's hard to be like, yeah. Like we spent maybe 15 minutes being like, Evan, we're okay. After we brush our teeth, we'll get it. Blah, 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 blah. Like literally sometimes the only thing that works is like, Evan Lynn Gibson, enough. Like lose your attitude. We are fine. You stop crying right now. We are okay, or we will not get our bottle. And she was like, zip. Perfectly fine, you know? So sometimes you got to go to 100.
Yeah, you and kids, like the two ultimatum choice, and one is really bad and one is really good. I feel like she's at that stage where that is very effective for her.
I think too, I don't know. That's how my dad was. And I feel like I'm kind of similar to him, but it's like literally no, absolutely not. Like I can't be the parent that is just like, oh, sweetie. I can be, but at some point it's a detriment in my opinion. Okay. I feel like your parenting style, I would say, I mean, you're a wonderful dad. The best, literally the best. I would say you are very fun. You're amazing at playing with them. I can't. I'm just not that way. Like you're on the ground with them, throwing them around. They love it. Like the way that they just laugh, it's like that is you. And I love that so much. I feel like you've actually gotten so much better at not just playing with them. Like I feel like you used to like just be like for play, and you know, then Kennedy would be like, okay, I'm over it. And then come to me for literally everything else because you were just so fun with them and everything was like fun, crazy, a joke. But she's such a snuggler. And I feel like you've like transformed. Like you can also do that. And that's crazy to think about because I feel like you used to just play and I would be like, but make sure you just sit with her too. Do you remember that?
I do. I didn't realize I was doing it, but.
No, you've made that big switch and now.
I think having more kids, though, it's like...
you can't always be like...
divide the time, and that's helped balance that, too.
No, you've been amazing at that. So, you're so tender. You're an amazing girl dad right now. Like, I mean, obviously. But, like, you are very sensitive, very tender. You fill in, for sure, where if you can tell that I'm, like, about to bubble over, you're like, okay, let me step in. So I appreciate that. I feel like you are also very, very stern, very militant. So sometimes a little scary. Like,
I feel like it's effective, though.
That's how I feel when you say to me it's 0 to 100. It's like sometimes it is what it is.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I know it's hard not to take offense. Okay, I'm sensitive and I just whatever. But so are you. So I'll tread lightly. But I feel like it is effective, and you're never like, okay, that's not true. You have been scary sometimes, but like it's never. I know that you're like always on some level, like I don't know, like you're doing your best, and I feel like. When you are like scary, I'm like, okay, you're like trying to you feel out of control. When you feel out of control, that's when you're like, listen, like you're gonna get attention and you're gonna like demand control. And so I feel like it's just funny sometimes. But they definitely respect you, I feel like, and I don't know, you're definitely more like silly, goofy, but when you're serious, and
this would be a better question to ask our kids one day.
Oh my gosh, literally.
How would you describe
like, terrible
Daddy's parenting style?
Yeah. Next question. Have you ever been to any concerts?
Yes.
Well, yes. Which ones have you been to?
I've been to several. Let me just say my favorite concert was probably Dave Matthews.
Oh, with me?
With you in Indiana. Yeah.
That was that a birthday gift? It was a gift for something.
So. I don't think it was.
All I will say, yeah, Morgan helped.
That was a good concert.
That was so fun.
Also, I went to a Revolution concert in Chicago once. That was a good one. My first concert was Nickelback.
Love it. I love Nickelback. Okay. They get a lot of hate, but I love them.
What about you?
I've gone to only a few. Like, I'm not a concert person. I don't know. Big spaces like that, I don't know. It's kind of scary. But I've been to Dave Matthews. That was definitely like, I was about to say top 3. I think I've only been to 3. Dave Matthews was definitely amazing. Pink, actually. I went to Pink.
Really?
Yes, and I loved her. It was so cool and like fun and interactive, and she's literally like insanely strong and like was flying all over the place. It was really cool. Taylor Swift I went to, and it's funny because I feel like that is the highlight of some people's lives, but I'm not like this diehard Taylor Swift fan. So I'm not like not a fan, but I'm certainly not a fan. So that was really cool because she's unbelievably talented, but like I don't really listen to her. I used to, like I think I like her. I like 2006 Taylor Swift. So her concert was amazing, but yeah. And then have there been any others? Oh, Jeremy Camp when I was in middle school. I think that was my first one. It was a Christian concert, and I always mix these two up. Amy Grant and Celine Dion. Obviously, Celine Dion is like a million levels up, but the amount of times I've told people I saw Celine Dion, and they're like, what? That's so cool. It was definitely Amy Grant. It was like a Christmas concert, and it was not a big deal. But Amy Grant, and loved it. Next question. Is content your full-time job? What does Seth do? Also, go Bears. Go Bears. That's a bold statement right now. They are struggling. But yes, this is my full-time job. I love it so much. And content, I guess, Instagram and this podcast and all that kind of stuff. That is what I do. And I love it. I love it so, so, so much. And it is, a gift to do what I love, and for that to bring in income. It's just a dream come true. And how long has it been? It's been like 3 years, maybe full time, kind of. 2?
Yeah, I would say 2 full time.
2 years full time. So yeah, and then Seth, what do you do?
I work with one of my brother-in-laws who has a real estate investment company, but it's small. It's just us two. So I help him do or manage some of his investment deals in real estate. So like flips, new builds. I help property manage his stuff, and I do have my active real estate license in Texas, so I act as his realtor as well. So
cool.
In the world of real estate,
yes,
something like that.
Next question. Do any of your siblings not want children or not want a big family? I would say all of them either have children, right? Yeah. Not want a big family. Okay, John, my youngest brother, is the only one that doesn't have kids. My oldest brother, I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters. My older brother just had a baby like a week ago. That was their first. And I asked him while I was with him how many they wanted, and they said like 2 to 3 absolute max. So some would classify 3 as a big family, but I come from 7, so I personally don't. So not everyone wants a big family, but I would say I would say that mid-size. Seth and I, and then my older sister, Jill, we are kind of the only ones that want like a team of people, of kids, Lord willing. But everyone else. Next question. Or not, I'm sure he will one day. But he's always my wild card. What about your sisters? Seth has 2 sisters. So do you think they want kids?
I definitely think they want kids. I don't know that they would want
a
big
lot.
families.
Yeah.
I mean, and what is big? I would say 3.
Maybe more than 2 would be a big family to me.
No.
What's the system you and your husband come to for discipline?
I would say the system that we're using right now is kind of a 3-step method.
Yep.
So, first time offense is we try to use it as a teaching moment. So, we acknowledge that, hey, what you just did, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
This is a verbal warning. If you do it again, there is a punishment to it.
Yes.
Second step, which is punishment. Right now, for Kennedy and Evan, that is a timeout, and the time length is dictated by their age. So Kennedy goes to sit in timeout for 4 minutes, Evan for 2, and again, teaching in it, explaining what happened, explaining why they're getting in trouble, and then, if they're not behaving in timeout, then that can turn into the third step. Third step is, now they've deliberately done it, and usually it's a spank, but I think that's the third step is like there's a bigger punishment.
Yeah.
It's either a spank or we're not, there's no treats, or depending on what it is.
What's the system you and your husband come to for discipline?
That maybe require more immediate, severe attention. So,
but also I feel like, we haven't had to spank them in a really long time. I feel like
that's eliminated a lot of it. I know Kennedy's getting older too, so her understanding is more, but
exactly. Like with her, it's like a big deal if she's going to like deliberately disobey. And there's times for sure where she's not even sitting on the stairs very often anymore. I feel like communication with her is a lot more effective, where with Evan, it's like she's not even listening half the time. It's like, no, I want what I want. And she will do something deliberately, but she's also 2. So she's kind of more like on the stairs or we're talking to them. But I do feel like we've kind of leaned more into just trying to get them to understand where we're coming from, what we're saying. Lately, Kennedy has kind of just responded like a quick, like, no, and here's why. Like, here's what I want. And so like a reminder of like, basically like, I'm going to give you one more chance. Like, I'm going to remind you that we don't tell mommy and daddy no. And I know, there's a difference between like, no, because I want to do this, and like, no, I'm not doing that. Like I feel like her heart is to listen to us. She just wants what she wants. And so I feel like we've tried to have a little bit more like understanding and grace, and also like, okay, you're not like trying to disobey here. So let me remind you, we never tell mommy and daddy no. And you do what we ask you to do first, and then you can explain maybe why you would like to do what you want to do, even though the answer is still no. So yeah, I think a lot of communication too lately has been helpful and necessary.
And last thing I'll say on that is, I'm learning though that the discipline has to be appropriate for the season. And so I think, given their ages, Kennedy's 4, Evan's 2, Michael's 0. So for Kennedy and Evan, like, we're still in a teaching stage. They're still learning. And that system is what we have in place for a 4 and a 2-year-old.
Yeah, Evan's never gotten a spank yet. I mean, she's gotten flicked on her hand.
But I say that to say that if Kennedy was 6, like, the system might be different, because there's a different expectation when you're 5 and 6, that like, you're older now, you understand more, and so you may only get 1 try at something as opposed to 2. And just like, that's the expectation.
Maybe less communication and more like, no,
like,
we don't do that.
You know this stuff now, so
Yeah. Okay. Next question. How can you tell your kids not to hit, but then spank them as a punishment? Thank you for sharing.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. And it's, we've definitely talked about it. Yeah. I wanted to follow up with that one. We've actually talked about that quite a bit, especially like the little flicks on the hand and stuff like that. I'm like, how does that register and make sense? I will say that for me, I don't know why. I think the intention matters. So like, growing up, we absolutely got spanked, and never was I like, oh, you're hitting me. Like you're a hypocrite. Like it never felt like that. I think because my dad made it very clear what was happening. So, I think, the way he spoke to me, his intention was not to like hit me. It's like, my intention is to teach you. I'm training you. And that was his responsibility, and he made that very clear. So, I guess for me, I just feel like they'll always know how much we love them, and I think the consistency at which like we're telling them, it's not always like, don't hit and I'm going to hit you. It's like, we also don't lie. We also don't, take things. We also don't tell mommy and daddy no. We also don't do this and that. And again, we don't spank very often at all, but I think we've chosen like certain forms of punishment, or them sitting on the stairs, or whatever, and it's like that's going to be consistent throughout our discipline, and they know the difference between. Now if they did something and we just hit them real quick, that's unacceptable. Like that to me would be like, oh no, that is wrong. Like, I can't tell you not to hit your sister, but you do something to me that I don't like, and then I hit you. But if there's a system in place and we make them aware of that system, they know where that's coming from. We're not just hitting them. You know what I mean? So I think that it's important not to react out of anger, because I do think that's not okay if you're going to just like real quick react. And that goes for anything. It's like if you're going to like pull them real quick or just do something out of anger, I think there has to be a system. There has to be time to respond. And I don't think that's ever going to be confusing for a kid.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great answer. So I don't have much else to say, but I guess more to reiterate, like really defining terms and teaching that to your children between, like we use spank, and that's a punishment, and hitting is different than a spank.
Yeah.
And so they know that there's a difference to that. Again, spanking is extremely intentional. We're trying to, they know that they've done something wrong, or there's been an offense for them to get a spank.
Yeah.
It's not a reactive swat or just hit. And
yeah.
so I think that to us is the difference, is hitting and spanking aren't the same things, and we've taught them that from day
Absolutely.
one.
That's good.
I think too, there has to be a respect for parents as authority figures, and that, because Kennedy and Evan will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna."
Why are you
Mommy,
having a
Daddy,
treat?
I'm gonna give you the spank, like if you don't. And so she understands, and she's joking sometimes too, but it's like she understands that spanks are delivered by parents,
Authority.
by mommy and daddy.
Yes.
It's not that she can't,
parents.
like she knows though that she can't give Evan a spank, and she knows that, and she'll give like her baby doll a spank or something, but
every now and then we're like, oh,
like she understands though that spanking is from parent to child, not child to parent, and there's the respect for authority with that as well. So I think teaching, using different vocabulary, however you would describe it, and teaching the differences to that, and then also ensuring that there's a respect for authority in the house and having that. But I think what you said is just as important, having a system so that it's like there's an understanding.
Not a reaction.
There's an understanding of I'm getting hit, if that's the word that you're using. I'm getting a hit when I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, and I know that because it's in accordance with the system that's in place, and it's not just sporadic. It's not like I'm getting a quote unquote hit because all of a sudden it's just
angry.
Out of nowhere. It's like, no, I made an offense, and I think that's why we really like this 3-step system that we just talked about, because it sets them up for the expectation of knowing what's coming, and it's not a blind side. And I think that would really disrupt a kid mentally.
I think it's not okay. Yeah, you have to have a system. Otherwise, that creates such a fear from kids. It's like when you never know what you're going to expect from mommy and daddy, that's a problem. It's a self-control issue on the parents' end. Like you've got to have the enough control, and it's respectable. You want your kids to respect you, not be afraid of you. That respect comes from lovingly disciplining your kids. The fear, I can make my kids into who I want them to be. I can force them to like listen to me, but like, do I want that, or do I want them to want to listen to me because they trust me and they know that I have their best interests and I'm teaching them and disciplining them? There's a difference. And then lastly, I love your point of like respecting authority and knowing the difference between parent and child. It's like, I'm not hitting you, you hit someone else, whatever. It's like mommy and dad. It's like, how can I have a glass of wine and they can't? It's like, because I'm an adult, I'm their parent, there's a difference. And so I feel like, them understanding that is important too. So like when Kennedy's like, oh, mommy, can I have a sip? It's like, no, this is a mommy drink. This is an adult drink. She gets that. And it's like, okay, there's a difference between like a 2-year-old and a 30-year-old, responsibility wise, things that we can do as a parent that like they can't do. That's not wrong or bad. Something that might be wrong or bad for them, like hitting or whatever, or spanking or whatever. She can't spank her sister, but like that doesn't mean it's wrong or bad for us. And they have to understand there's certain things there that like are just for mommy and daddy or whatever. So I like that point. Last question.
Well,
go ahead.
Let me just say this too. We're saying this all not because we know what's best. Like, I just want to reiterate that. Like, this is all just from our experience, from books that we've read, from conversations we've had with family, with counselors. Like, and this is the system that we've developed and come up with, and not even developed. Like, I feel like we're
taken from like
taking from other people, like, and making it our own. And so, you might find a different way to do something that works for you, and that's great. Like, we're not preaching that this is the way that it should be done by any means, and also we're not saying that we've done it perfectly. Like, we've made we've made tons of mistakes. We've reacted,
yes,
and I mean, literally the other day, and Kennedy was going into the street, but I grabbed her. Like, my reaction was literally just grab her arm, and that totally threw her off because that rarely ever happens, but it was just in my mind. She's going into the street, like, she has to stop, and I did it before I even said anything or as I was saying something. And
there are those emergency situations, but you knew. So it's just like,
even, and that was literally, I think, 2 days ago. No, what is today?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday. So like, we're still working through those things, and we want you guys to just know that it's not like. It's not a one size fits all either. Yeah.
Like, obviously, if your kid's going to the street, you got to do something. So, but there's ways, whatever. But, and also when we do, side note, say like spanking, refer to spanking, it's on their bottom with a spoon. Like, we don't talk, like, we would never, whatever. I think that's important to note as well.
Take them out back.
Yeah, absolutely not. When a spank does happen, like, that is what we're referring to. Last question. How do you stay motivated? I personally don't know if I do. I don't think I do. No, I really, but I also feel like that's okay. Motivation, it's like, I think I read something or I watched something that said like, you're not like in control of your motivation. Like, it doesn't just happen. You don't just get motivated. That's why we don't do things based out of motivation. I don't work out because I'm motivated to work out. I work out because I have to, because it's a habit that I need to continue to develop. I don't eat clean, period, all the time, but like, I don't eat clean because I'm motivated to. I do want to, and sometimes I am very motivated. Like, last night we had Chipotle at 11 p.m. I'm motivated this morning. I'm motivated this morning to eat clean because I feel motivated. I feel naturally like, man, I'm ready. It's Monday, blah, blah, blah. Thursday evening this week, I might not feel that motivated. And we're driving to good old Nashville and we pass a Whataburger, I'm not going to feel motivated. I'm sure of that. However, we don't do things based out of like motivation. So I understand the question, and I do think, there's ways to get motivated. For me, it's like I'm going to scroll Pinterest and like look at some YouTube videos or something when it comes to like clean eating or like whatever. And this is strictly in, I'm just talking about like working out and stuff. There's multiple areas of life, motivation to get up in the morning and be a parent and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, it's like I can go find motivation, but it's also like so important to just create disciplines. And there is literally no one, like, I feel like if motivation came easier, if everyone could just get motivated, there wouldn't be so many issues in, America right now or in the world. So it unfortunately might not ever come. You might not ever feel like working out in the morning. I know a lot of people who are in the habit of working out often year after year still, like my brother-in-law. Sometimes he runs like miles every morning, and there's still days that he does not want to run, but he does it anyway. So yeah, that's my answer.
No, that's good. I would say I love the question. That's a great question. And it's definitely a season. I think it's a seasonal thing, but I'm personally in a season of, I feel, lack of motivation, and I feel like I'm coming out of it now. Mm-hmm. But when I think about it, I think there's a higher level of inspiration. Mm-hmm. And when you're inspired by something, that can create motivation to do something. Mm-hmm. But like having an inspiration for something is I think more powerful than just being motivated. Like I could watch a workout video and get motivated to go work out in the gym, but that dies
after the workout,
within the workout. And, and it's just like, well, I'm here and I'm doing it. I did it. Like, but, and maybe that's what gets you to it. But I think the key for motivation is momentum, like the big mo, and that comes by small wins. Like this is what I'm in the middle of this right now, and I'm seeing this. Mm-hmm. Small wins of momentum builds motivation, and that momentum creates more motivation, and it goes back to habits, like what you're talking about. But like for me to wake up early in the morning, like I am trying to wake up at 5:30 right now. That's really hard for me. It used to be really easy. Now it's really hard. But for me to even get to 5:30, I started waking up, or I started setting my alarm for 6 because I was getting up, whenever the girls got up. But 6 was way more realistic and attainable at the time. And then I moved it to like 5:50 or 5:45, and then from 5:45 to 5:30 is when I set my alarm clock. Mm-hmm. And so it's like small wins like that. Like don't set a goal that is too hard to obtain. I've found that, and there's definitely a time and a place for big 10x hairy audacious goals. But starting with small goals to build that momentum will then increase your motivation. Because, if I woke up at 6 and I can do that consistently, and then I move it back 5 minutes, I've got some momentum there that can carry me an extra 5 minutes earlier. And so I think really the key with that is time, and not, making your goals and your motivation have to be time bound.
Yeah.
And trying to do things within realistic time frames that align with that, and not just have like, I want to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, and I'm trying to get really motivated for that.
Yeah.
Like it's not impossible, but it makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it's easier for you to fall off the train as opposed to just start slowly.
Yeah.
and gradually, and maybe give yourself 6, 8, 12 months to lose 50 pounds, and start small and get those little wins in first. That's going to build your momentum, and that helps you stay motivated.
Well, thanks for tuning in for this Q&A. That was fun. And Seth had an idea that we should do like a fun rapid fire one in the next couple of months. I feel like that would be really fun to like do something like that. But we appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, it really helps us out if you leave a rating or a review or whatever it is. We just love getting to do this. It's a privilege and a blessing for us. So thank you.
Thank you guys.
Again,
I'm Seth.
And I'm Jackie.
This is Never TMI, and we are signing off.
Peace out.